We've tried to talk to them for months and months and months, and they said no.
Have you tried calling President Trump? He seems to take phone calls.
Well,
directly.
you know, we sat.
Are you sure you can't?
I've
when you had
encouraged
defections?
I don't know what they put in Margaret Brennan's coffee before today's show, but man, she went after a Democrat. And as you can see, Chuck Schumer is not used to getting called out by the liberal media when he doesn't make any sense. It's Sean Daniel here, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but hit the like button for Margaret Brennan.
Senator Chuck Schumer is the top Democrat on the other side of the Capitol, and he joins us now from New York City. Good morning to you, Leader. I want to pick up on something the Speaker of the House was pointing to. He wants this fight to be about illegals, as he said, and I want to be specific here because we know from our research that there is no federal money that goes towards health care tax credits for undocumented immigrants in this country. The federal government doesn't fund health insurance for the undocumented. But it is also true that states like yours, New York, does provide health care for people who are in this country illegally. And their argument seems to be the money here is fungible. And bottom line is it comes out of the federal pocket. Do you want to respond to that?
You know, Johnson doesn't want to discuss the real issue, the healthcare crisis facing the American people. So he puts up all these fake lies to try and divert attention. It's his standard operation. He just is concerned with the politics. Every independent agency that looks at this says Johnson's claim is false. And just as you said, Margaret, zero federal dollars can go to undocumented immigrants through Medicare, through Medicaid, through ACA. And so we ought to be talking about the real issue here, which is that we have a healthcare crisis in America caused by the Republicans. They've barreled us towards a shutdown because they don't want to deal with that crisis, plain and simple.
Just admit it, Chucky. Your state prefers illegals over American citizens. The more shocking thing is that Chuck Schumer actually agrees with some of you guys in the comments about how Medicare prices are set to rise for a lot of Americans. Like Chuck, another Chuck, who commented and said, I do spend $24K a year for me and my wife's health insurance at $90K income a year. Or another person who said without the ACA credits next year, they're looking at $1,750 a month. And with these big possible price increases, that's why it's so important to review your guys' medical plan for 2026 and the options you have. And that's why I recommend you guys give a call to my sponsor, Chapter, for a free call where they will review every plan nationwide for you for free. If you're already on the best plan for you and you're not going to have any price increases, they'll tell you that for free. But if you're not, and you're maybe going to see some price increases like some of you guys in the comments, they'll also advise you on the best plan for you. On average, they save people about $1,100 a year. That's why I recommend you guys give Chapter a call just to see what options you have. You can do that at 786-619-1152. Again, that's 786-619-1152, or click the link in the description. Now let's get back to Chucky Chuck.
Let's talk about the shutdown in a moment. In terms of healthcare, where you've taken us in terms of the messaging, Democrats, as I understand it, are looking for an extension of those Obamacare tax credit. I believe you'd like them permanently. You heard the speaker say we can talk about that after the government is reopened, perhaps not permanently. But do you hear any kind of opening here for a negotiation whatsoever?
Well, right now, not. Look, Johnson's not serious about this. He sent all his congressmen home last week and home this week. How are you going to negotiate when they're all there? He says the job is in the Senate with you and Leader Thune. Well, no, you actually need Johnson. If you're going to negotiate any agreement, you need Johnson, Thune, Trump, Schumer, and Jeffries. And the reason he sent them home is because he's more interested in protecting the Epstein files than protecting the American people from the healthcare crisis. We've been trying for months and months to sit down with them and have a serious conversation addressing America's healthcare needs. And they've refused and refused and refused. And just on your show and on other shows, when they ask him, well, will you do it in January? He says it's starting in January. He says, no, we'll have a conversation. Well, you know what? Later means never. And we've tried 45 days and 45 days and 45 days from March on. We asked them to vote on it 3 times. The Republicans in the Senate, they voted no 3 times.
That was a permanent
extension. So we need to solve
extension.
this crisis.
The bill that I think you're referring to is Senator Shaheen. It was a permanent extension. It wasn't the, compromise that some Republicans have proposed.
Can you guys believe that Margaret actually called him out on the BS? Because first of all, oh, we need Mike Johnson there. He sent everyone home so we can't negotiate. Chuck. Do you know who's in D.C. right now? I literally made a video about it yesterday. Mike Johnson was in D.C. yesterday. It's not like he's back in his district. It's not like he's on vacay. He's in D.C. doing interviews with Face the Nation. He could talk to Chuck. Chuck could go talk to him. Just because everyone else in Congress went back to their districts doesn't mean he can't negotiate with Mike Johnson.
Proposed.
Margaret Johnson has not committed to any extension, and he won't until the American people force him to. And it doesn't, and by the way, the crisis doesn't start in January. 2 days ago, starting October 1st, millions of Americans are getting notices that their health care premiums are dramatically increasing. If you're a 55-year-old couple and you make $80,000, you know how much your premiums will go up if we don't extend it? It'll go up something like $25,000. The average American will pay $900 more. How do Americans who are struggling, sitting at the table Friday night figuring out how to pay the bills, how the heck can they get such an increase? Democrats are simple. We want to extend it, and so they won't have to pay that increase. And Johnson does not want to do it. He's just not serious about it, as exemplified by him sending the House home for 2 weeks. You need to be here to negotiate.
All right. You're using the word extend versus making permanent, just making clear there. And then the number we see is the average is an increase of about $1,000 in premium payments for most households that will go into effect. But
and it's horrible. It's horrible.
On the reopening everything conversation, sir, though, I mean, do you trust Leader Thune? And when you look at just your numbers here, do you trust Leader on the reopening everything conversation?
And it's horrible.
Chuck's pretty smooth at trying to blur the lines between the extension of the ACA credits, the Affordable Care Act credits, and reopening the government. Mike Johnson's trying to get you to see that's a separate issue. That doesn't matter. But the Democrats are trying to use that as a negotiation tactic to get the health care plan things they want in place while getting the government shutdown in place. They're kind of doing their own negotiation as well, like Trump is by threatening to fire federal workers.
On the reopening everything conversation, sir, though, I mean, do you trust Leader Thune? And when you look at just your numbers here, 3 senators already crossed over to vote with Republicans on this short-term funding deal. Are you concerned about more defections?
Look, it's a Republican shutdown because they've refused to talk with us. Johnson, I saw him mentioned that we did it 13 times when I was majority leader. That's true. You know why? In every case, we sat down and talked with the Republicans, and there was a give and take, and then both sides didn't get everything they wanted, but we got it done. They have refused to talk to us even once.
Well,
and Jeffries and I have been trying to get them to talk to us for they've tried to get to us to talk to them for, we've tried to talk to them for months and months and months, and they said no. The American people know that they're in charge, Republican president, Republican Senate, Republican House, that they have a responsibility to govern, which means sit down and talk with us so we can address these needs.
But back to the question of defections. Leader Thune was on another network, on Fox, and he said that there are conversations with Democrats who want to find an off-ramp here. Is he having conversations with Democrats other than you? Are you sure you can't?
I've encouraged Margaret, I've encouraged my Democratic members to sit and talk to Republicans. It's always good when Democrats and Republicans talk to each other, but 2 points. First, in those conversations, the Republicans offered nothing. But second, the only way this will ultimately be solved is if 5 people sit together in a room and solve it. And they are the president, who also doesn't seem serious about this. You know, he's putting out his memes and his things with the Grim Reaper and all of that stuff. He's playing golf. Johnson's not serious. And so we've got to sit down for the five of us, that's the way to solve this problem. But when Democrats talk to Republicans, it's a good thing. And I've encouraged my Democrats to do it, but they've offered us nothing, no change.
So they weren't. So nobody's willing to meet with Chuck Schumer, even though Trump met with Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Mike Johnson, Senator Thune with the Trump 2028 hats, and Trump over here smiling and pointing at Hakeem Jeffries. Does Chuck Schumer think we're that stupid that we don't remember this awesome photo op with the Trump 2028 hats? Now, do you think Margaret Brennan will actually point that out to him? That, hey, we literally have photo evidence of you recently meeting with all these people you're saying won't meet. I doubt it.
Have you tried calling President Trump? He seems to take phone calls.
Well,
directly.
you know, we tried to get President Trump to sit down with us weeks ago, long before the shutdown date started. He said yes. He said no. Johnson told him to say no. We sat down, the day before, and he wasn't serious. He put these red hats on the table, and he's joking around. And honestly, in the meeting, Margaret, I got the feeling he didn't even know what was happening, that the crisis was impending, that people would pay such a... He once said, they're going to pay all that? That would be bad for me. And so the court here is the American people. The American people are hearing what's happening, and they are demanding that we address this crisis. They are demanding we sit down together and do it. It's just logical. They say that, in your survey that you put out, they say that 75% people feel Trump isn't doing enough. Another survey by the Washington Post showed that not only do 80% of the American people want us to extend these credits, but 55% of Trump voters.
Well,
and the American people are right now talking to their senators, talking to their congressmen. They're telling them, get this done. We want to get it done.
Our CBS polling also shows that neither side is getting good grades on any of this, Leader. We're going to have to leave that here for this moment. We'll be right back.
It's Sean Daniel here. If you guys want to see Mike Johnson refute a lot of the ridiculous statements that Chuck Schumer was making about them not even wanting to meet, check out this video right here where he does that. And he goes after Margaret Brennan when she spews a lie at him. He cuts her off real quick. See you there.